Mr Phillp, antisocial behaviour seems to be the issue that governments want to crack down on when they want to get a few popular headlines. There are bigger issues, though, not least police numbers. Where are the numbers of police that you're going to recruit in order to deal with antisocial behaviour? They can't deal with the more serious crimes at the moment.
Well, let's start with police numbers. We're just coming to the end of a programme to recruit an extra 20,000 police officers. We're on track to hit that by the end of this month, just a few days' time. And assuming we're successful in meeting that milestone, we will have, by the end of this month, more police officers than we've ever had at any time in this country's history, by a few thousand. So that is a very positive bit of news. I think that will help us tackle antisocial behaviour that we'll talk about.
Hang on. Could I just clarify those figures? Firstly, under austerity, we lost 20,000 police officers. So when you say extra police officers, you're literally talking about replacing the number of police officers that we lost, right?
So there were some officers lost because of the dealing with the financial consequences of the last Labour government. By the time, so the numbers did go down.
20,000 police officers lost because of the Conservative government.
Well, because of having to fix Labour's financial mess.
OK, but there were other ways to fix a mess other than cutting police officers, weren't they? So let's just get this right. 20,000 police officers were lost under the Conservative government.
So to be clear, there'll be more that have been hired than we lost in the early 2010s. So by the time this programme is finished, in just a few days' time, there'll be more police officers, by a few thousand, than there were in 2010.
So you're hoping to recruit more than 20,000 police officers?
Well, it's slightly more complicated because we recruited a few extra between about 2015 and 2019, and then there was another 20,000 from 2019 until today. So the total number is actually is more than 20,000, but we're looking at the 3-year programme. Okay. The key thing is the total, and that will be higher. The total we're on track to deliver in just a few days' time. The numbers will be publicly confirmed, I think, at the end of April, but we are on track to deliver a number in just a few days' time that is higher by a few thousand than the previous peak in 2010. So it'll be a record number, more officers than we've ever had before.
OK, that's fantastic. But if the huge number of them is simply replacing police officers that we've lost, that it's not quite as big a figure. And let me just clarify your more officers than ever before, because the numbers here, March 2010, there were 143,734 full-time equivalent police officers. In January of this year, there were 142,145 full-time equivalent police officers.
That's right, and we're gonna overtake. We probably overtook the previous record sometime in January, and by the time we get to the end of March, a few days' time, we'll have beaten the previous record by a few thousand, and we'll know exactly what that number is at the end of April.
All right, now look, we've quoted the front page of the Daily Mail this morning. Let's quote page 2 of the Times, another report there saying that because of this tremendous logjam and backlog in our criminal courts, large numbers of women who have said they've been raped or otherwise sexually assaulted are just giving up. And they're saying to the police and to the Crown Prosecution Service, you know, I can't stand waiting for this to come to court any longer. I'm withdrawing my complaint. I'm withdrawing the charge. And they're walking away from the prosecution. That's awful, isn't it?
Yes, it's really deeply concerning, and the rape prosecution figures 2 or 3 years ago were far too low. It was unacceptable. So what we've done since then, in the last couple of years, is launch a project called Operation Satyria, which is expressly designed to get those rape and serious sexual assault charge rates back up again. The first police force that trialled this was Avon and Somerset, and their rape charge levels went up by, I think it was 2 or 3 times in a pretty short space of time. We're going to be rolling this out nationally by June of this year. We're going to be recruiting more specially trained rape and serious sexual assault investigating officers, and we are on track to deliver our target of doubling the rape prosecution numbers, because the numbers were, you're quite right, the numbers were far too low. Right. So that's why all this work's happening. In addition to that, we passed a new law a year or so ago to make people who've committed rape and other serious sexual offences spend more of their prison sentence more of their sentence in prison, something which Labour extraordinarily voted against. So there's a lot of work going on here, which is necessary, as you just said a second ago.
And in the brief time remaining to us, let's talk about the broad tackling of antisocial behaviour in a very public way. The point was made on this programme a couple of hours ago that to do that, you've got to catch them. And there doesn't seem to be very much optimism that you're going to be catching any more antisocial offenders.
Well, I don't agree. One of the elements in the antisocial behaviour action plan that the Prime Minister is going to be launching in just a few hours' time is hotspot police patrolling, where we're putting extra money, £50 million a year, ultimately, into this hotspot policing, where local police forces and local councils will identify antisocial behaviour hotspots and have regular surge patrols going into those areas. Where we've done that to combat violent crime, we've seen 40 or 50% reductions in violent crime where we've had surge policing in violent crime hotspots. We think the same thing will work with antisocial behaviour. And, of course, we just talked about the record officer numbers we're about to hit. Of course, some of those extra officers are going to be used to investigate serious high-harm crimes, but some will be used against antisocial behaviour, which is important because we want people to feel safe in their own communities, safe when they go to their local high street, safe when they visit their local park. And although reports of antisocial behaviour have thankfully been declining in recent years, we think it is important to do more, which is why the Prime Minister is launching this action plan today.
All right, Chris Phillp, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to what the Prime Minister has to say on this a little bit later on in his statement. Right, it's 8:42.
Sorry, did I just hear the government minister saying they have a massive new initiative to deal with a problem which is on the decline already?
He did say that, yes.
OK.
OK, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yes, 8:42.
Look at the things which are on the rise.